sweeties. So I got a few plants around me that really need some trimming. Not this one though. But I remember that last year I did a video about this succulent. I think I showed it in one of my videos. So I just wanted to give you a quick update about this plant because it's doing really, really well. And as you can see, it's in a clay pot now. It has a lot of new growth. I'll see if I can give you a close-up of that because it has so much new growth. Hold on, let me just sit a little bit closer. So yeah, I just wanted to show you this plant. You know, because I showed it to you last year and I figured that you would like to see how it's doing currently. So yeah, the pot that it was in last year when I showed this plant to you, because I did repot this plant in a video, I remember, it was in this pot, and now I have a snake plant in this pot. But just to kind of show you for size comparison, this is what it was in last year. Quite a lot smaller. So yeah, I have a snake plant now. I've always wanted to own one of these and I never did. So I bought this one at the vegetable store. And it's doing really good. I have some stones that I found at the lake right on the top and also at the bottom. And ideally I want this plant to be in a clay pot as well, but I gotta get some more clay pots. So yeah, that's my snake plant. And this is the jade plant. So it came out of that pot last year, but before that it was actually in a glass jar when I first received this plant from a friend that left it here. Let me see if I can grab that one to show you what it originally was in about 4 years ago. So this is what it was in originally when I got the pot, when I got this plant, the jade plant. So it went from the glass jar to this one, and now it's in a really big clay pot. Pretty cool. So this one is an ivy of some sort. I don't know exactly which one, but it has some dead leaves on it that I need to trim off. So yeah, I have some other things here too. I have a thyme plant here that I showed you in one of my last videos last year as well, and this really has to be trimmed. It's very bushy, it grows super quickly. And then this, these are tomato cuttings that I cut off the tomato plants that you've also seen in a video last year. And this was the very last of it. It only had like a few more tomatoes on it, and I decided to put it in some water and put it under a grow light so that the tomatoes would be able to get red. I didn't want to throw them away. So now that I've had, there's 2 more tomatoes on here. They're super tiny, like 1/4 of an inch, super, super small. So I'm just going to take those off and eat them, and then that plant is going to be thrown out because it's it's done basically. So yeah, let's get started. Let me just move this jade plant away because I really just wanted to show you the jade plant and some close-ups of all the new growth that this plant has. It's doing really good. It's a mini tree basically, which I think is awesome. So I got my aquarium scissors here. It's like these long pair of scissors that are used for underwater, but I also use them to trim plants with. So that's what I will be using. So I have a peace lily here that needs some trimming. Has some old flowers on it that I have to cut off, and a few dead leaves. So this is just one of my house plants that I've had for let me see, when did I get it? I think I got it in 2013. So 8 years. Yeah, almost. This summer it will be 8 years. So I need to trim this one. I need to trim the ivy of some sort. If you know which one it is, then please let me know. I've tried to find which one it is with plant apps, and looking at pictures, taking pictures of the leaves, comparing them to pictures on the internet, and I haven't been able to figure out which one that is. I've also had that one for 8 years now. I got that one the same time as I got the peace lily. So yeah, I'm just going to start with this tomato plant. It actually did get some roots in the water, you can probably see. But yeah, it's done. I actually got quite a bit of tomatoes of these plants. And the tomatoes that are still on here, I'm just going to take them off. They're super, super tiny. I'm just wondering if oh, this should be okay. So let me show you how small they are. As you can see, super, 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 super small. So that's what happened. This is a cherry, or at least it was a cherry tomato plant. And when it gets to the end of the season and it's done growing tomatoes and done blooming, they become smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's the reason why this plant is done now. So I'm just going to eat them. They're so small. And they're super, super sweet. It's absolutely crazy. So, smallest tomatoes I've ever grown. Super, super, super sweet. Less than a bite. I also got my tray right beside me where I can put the dead leaves on and stuff. Don't know if you remember that from last year. So yeah, let's get started because I've got quite a lot of stuff to do. So I'll start with the ivy. I'll put it right here, and yeah, just gonna take off the dead leaves. Doesn't have a whole lot of dead leaves on it, but I like to maintain my plants, so I don't want to let it get too crazy, because that's what I used to do in the past. I think that was it. I think there were only a few dead leaves on here. Let me check. was it. Only a few. So just put this beside me. You might have seen this one in one of my previous videos already. I have it hanging from my bookshelf, or my shelving unit, where I have my aquariums and my plants on. So the next one I will be doing is my peace lily. To be honest with you, my peace lily isn't doing too great. I do think it's not the problem that it doesn't get enough water. It doesn't get over or underwatered. I think it probably needs some nutritions that I'm not familiar with. So if you have any tips, not in terms of lighting or how much water it needs, because I am familiar with that, but like if you have any recommendations for good nutrition for like a liquid, or you know, whatever it might be, feel free to comment down below. Your tips and knowledge would be very very much appreciated. So let's do the peace lily now. I'm hidden in the bush, so you can't see, because I zoomed in a little bit, you can't see the flowers, but that's okay. Most of them are done blooming, so I'm going to cut them off. 2 of them are done, so I'm just going to cut them off. Sometimes I don't trim them. Sometimes I just hold on, let me just move this side a little bit. Sometimes I don't trim them. Sometimes I just let them completely die off until they're brown, but you know, might as well now that I'm doing a little trimming session. So this one is definitely done. And this leaf right here. Let me see. This leaf right here. I know it's a bit hard to see, or actually you can't see it at all, but this is the best setup that I could come up with to do this. There's a dead leaf right here. And one more leaf on the side here. There's a lot of new growth on the bottom. There's quite a lot of little baby peace lilies. And this pot has rocks on the bottom so that the water can drain out properly. Oh, wait, one more flower and then we're good. Peace lily flowers are so pretty. Okay, and that was it for that plant. So the next plant that I have is my thyme that I showed in one of my previous videos. I don't know if I already said that or not, but whatever. And I have it in a clay pot with some really big river rocks on the bottom so that the water can drain out. And it's on a little saucer, a clay saucer, and it also has some little rocks on there so that the water can really drain out. So have to zoom out a little bit so you can actually see it. But this is the saucer with the little rocks on it. So as you can see, this plant is pretty bushy. It started out with 4 little sprigs that I planted, that I bought to make, food with. And they were in the fridge for quite a while. And then I decided to plant them last year, and here it is. I've trimmed it so many times. We used it so much for cooking as well. So yeah. I'm just going to trim it from the top, and yeah, just make everything a little bit shorter and a little less bushy. I actually trimmed it about 1.5 weeks ago, because somebody was coming over and we were making some steak. Very, very good with steak, but it's already starting to get bushy on the top again, as you can see. Oh, it smells so good. So yeah, I'm just going to trim off the top. And some on the side as well. I do have the feeling that I should kind of zoom in for this so that you can really see it. So let me go and do that. There we go. See my head hiding behind the thyme. I'm just going to put this aside, and then I can put it in a Ziploc bag after I'm done filming. So I'm really going to trim this down this time. It's barely fitting under the grow light at this moment because it's just so long. Because it's such a bushy plant, it's kind of hard to track where the little stems come from. Can't believe how big it actually became compared to what it used to be. Like what it started from. this is like the first really big trim I've done. I've trimmed it a lot, but I usually leave it a bit longer, but I just really want it to be shorter. I don't want it to grow up against the grow light, because the leaves will burn otherwise. Okay, I think that looks pretty decent. Let me see if I can retie this little rope that I have. Almost became one with the plant. Almost. There we go. Might not look the prettiest, but it definitely works well. So yeah, there we go. So I think that was it for this video. Because that was those were all the plants that I needed to trim today. So yeah, I'll see if I have like something a little bit more exciting in terms of indoor gardening. But you know, there's only so much I can have indoors. So it's not like I have to repot plants every week or anything like that. But yeah, nonetheless, I hope that you enjoyed this video.